Hi guys, quick recap on ES. Obviously I'm trading, this is a London session, so don't really tend to hold trade for more than, kind of depends how big the kind of mid-range targets are, VWAP, stuff like that, but it's usually about 4 points, 5 points max. Obviously the ranges are smaller in London, and obviously the volatility is lower, so it can move a bit slow. As you can see here, entry here, closed out here, so that's about what, 66.50. Yeah, it's just about 4 points. So yeah, that'll do me for the day. So yeah, just a quick recap. So obviously we're in this, let me just get rid of this, we're in this kind of as I was saying, let me just get my pen up. Right, so as I was saying, in my previous recap, we kind of had two ranges, so we're kind of coming into a different range now. So obviously we had, let me just get this up. Right, so we had this range here, you also kind of had a small one there, and now we're kind of where we are now. We're back inside this very large range, right? So we're inside this large range. However, we did have kind of 2 days where we were just creating new balance with inside balance. So I was looking at this thinking, that's right, so this is a larger picture in terms of we could go long from here to the other side, which is here. This is more like sort of long term. However, just coming into London, because obviously there's smaller ranges, I tend to look at a tighter range, visible range. So before London, so London, let me just go back to where it was. So it was about here. So you can see we kind of created a range inside a range, volume accepting low. So I know we're accepting somewhere in this area, right? Now on this kind of composite over the last 2 days, so this you would want to ideally merge. So for example, if we was on the TPO, you'd want to merge these two ideally, and then you kind of got a nice little edge here. So that's exactly what I was looking at. Now this is quite important in terms of single prints. So I did see some single prints form in Asia, so I was thinking if we can get a rejection from this kind of edge, then I want to fill those single prints. But anyway, I was looking at this mainly, so it's the same kind of thing, right? You have this edge of this distribution, right? It's quite a strong drop off to that low volume node, so I was trying to see if we can get a reaction, and obviously it's possible, it's not always guaranteed that we come in, kind of just retest, go down. Obviously we could accept here and then retest this and then go to this area here. We'll probably look to target here these high volume nodes, maybe even here the value area high, because you've got nice volume peak there. But yeah, kind of just target these areas. So that is something else that could have played out, but kind of depends what Orderflow is doing. That will kind of determine my decision. So we ended up getting a nice move down, and I've closed it now. So if I just look at VWAP, so I use lower time frame Heikin-Ashis on this one. So you can see I've kind of marked out my edge of my distribution of this range, right? So I kind of like to use the up down tick volume delta rather than Q. I use both. However, cumulative delta wasn't really giving me much in terms of sell-off. This is a higher time frame VWAP, but slot time based, it's a number of trades, so that's 2800. Anyway, so we created this kind of high, right? And as we came back up to it, you start to see divergences, and as it kind of so it doesn't take out the high here, but then as it kind of takes out the high here, we start to get more divergences, sign of absorption. Here we start to see the participation from the relative volume getting kind of decent as we come back inside to standard deviation. So at this moment I'm just still waiting, right? And what I'm waiting for is to see some kind of heavy volume coming in, right? And I'll just show you. Right, so here you start to see some big selling volume coming, 143 on the delta there, and as price keeps going, selling still strong here, but I want to wait for I'm waiting for that pop so I can follow. Right, still nothing yet. Price then comes up, so I'm kind of waiting for us to come back inside this daily value area, which is inside of one standard deviation bands. Still haven't got anything yet in terms of, if we look at the volume, nothing really in terms of heavy selling into that value area yet. And then eventually, so if I just show you here, this is where we get some heavy selling now, and then now price starts breaking in. This is where you see the ask bit difference start to step in, delta going down. So this is so I kind of entered a little bit late, entered around 66ish around here, and then closed it just as we approach VWAP. So just before VWAP, where one of these single prints, it was actually sitting just below VWAP, this single print, if I can just find it. Right, so that first one was sitting just above VWAP, that single print there. So I kind of just closed that out. If you look on the footprint as well, you can see some signs of absorption near the area. So you can see here, where was it? Yeah, that was a decent one. So you can see here, right, volume really starts to pick up. We got 3,000 volume, 67 and 148 delta over there. So this is where I was watching what was going to happen, because I was watching this delta kind of just pop down as this move was going on, right? High volume, not much follow through, right? So I mean, you had the 148, 370, but that's these kind of 2 bars, and we had how much follow through? 72, about 4 points follow through, so it's not too much. And as the follow through comes in, you start to see aggressive sell delta picking up here. So this is not really something you'd like to see on a continuation. I mean, you get these heavy stacks, stacked imbalances here. So for a long trade, you would want to see this area hold a support when we come back down. Doesn't happen, we rip through. This is when I get short, when I see that rip come in. When that support doesn't hold, rip through, sell side delta getting increasingly stronger, 303, 143, 107. Buyers kind of stuck at the highs, low selling at the top. So yeah, this was kind of my entry to go short. Closed it out just towards these lows where VWAP is. But yeah, that was pretty simple. I hope that makes sense. See you guys soon.